Guys, welcome to another video here at KO Boxing 5. Make sure you guys like my video, share my video, drop your comments in the comment section below. And again, be sure to subscribe and join the KO Boxing Vibe community. Andrew Ruiz obviously beat Luis Ortiz recently, and obviously by unanimous decision. Dropped Luis Ortiz like how many times? Like three times. The hand speed from Andrew Ruiz was absolutely ridiculous. Nevertheless, Mr. Suleiman, the president of the WBC, obviously did say recently that that fight was actually pretty much like a semi-final fight, quote unquote. That first fight between Andrew Ruiz and Luis Ortiz, and a second semi-final to set up a mandatory fight. Who should become the mandatory next? Whoever holds holding the WBC will be Deontay Wilder's fight versus Robert Helenius. So Andrew Ruiz obviously secured his spot for that mandatory eliminating fight, and Deontay Wilder obviously needs to get the job done against Robert Helenius in order to secure that fight against Andy Ruiz. Now, Andy Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder, that's a fight I've been saying on multiple different videos needs to happen. The financials make sense. You've got the American fans, the Mexican American fans, the Mexican fans. You've got the obviously the African American fans. You know, it just makes sense as an all-American boxing match. It makes sense for Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder to fight, because arguably Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz are the two biggest American-based heavyweights right now in the heavyweight division. No, it's not even close. Deontay Wilder held that WBC for a long time, been in high-profile fights against Tyson Fury, obviously, and Luis Ortiz, and obviously Andy Ruiz beating Anthony Joshua, you know, and been able to build up his own fan base now in America, and he's built up a fan base in his home, his native home in Mexico. So it makes sense. There's a massive pool of fans to pull from if they should set up this fight. Man, it makes sense. The fight sells itself. It's not a fight that these two even need to talk too much. The tickets will sell. Andy Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder. It's gonna sell, man. It makes sense. And like I said, the WBC did say it's gonna be for who's gonna be the next mandatory against whoever's holding the WBC. Now, when that mandatory is gonna be called, we don't know. It's probably gonna be called relatively soon, because the last WBC mandatory was when Deontay Wilder fought Dominic Brazil, and that was maybe it's like 3 years ago now. Was that 2018? It's a bit of time ago now when Deontay Wilder fought Dominic Brazil for a mandatory. So the WBC will be looking to call that mandatory relatively soon. I suspect that they're probably going to call that after, possibly after any undisputed fight, possibly, depending on, you know, if Tyson Fury's team or whoever's holding the WBC is able to convince the WBC, you know, to hold on for that, which is no guarantee, because we did have the WBO, you know, pushing for Anthony Joshua to fight Alexander Usyk, and he went on to fight Alexander Usyk. They didn't really care, you know, too much about no undisputed. They said, listen, you need to fight this guy, or, you know, that's it. So you can drop the WBO and come back and fight for it after. So maybe the WBC might just call this mandatory. We don't really know. But point of the video, Andy Ruiz potentially fighting Deontay Wilder. Now, how does that fight go? I said, you know, on my previous video, talking about Andy Ruiz's weight, putting on weight, talking about his punch resistance improved against Luis Ortiz, was able to absorb shots because of putting on more weight. Now, if Andy Ruiz wants to continue eating those tacos, eating those burritos, you know, eating those muffins, you know, drinking those 3 liters of bottles of Coca-Cola and Pepsi Max on his couch, thinking that it's going to somehow reinforce his chin against Deontay Wilder's punching power because putting on more weight helped him against Luis Ortiz, well, he's going to find himself snoozing on the canvas, you know. So I hope he doesn't continue down this path of thinking that this body weight is going to help him, because it's a double-edged sword. You know, he's going to go in there thinking it's going to help him punch resistance. At the same time, with the body weight, it's going to become more of a stationary target for Wilder to line him up for the right hand. Wilder loves a stationary target. You sit in front of Wilder with your slow feet, your chin is gonna get rocked. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get rocked and you're gonna be snoozing. It's not like all these other guys caught you and you're gonna throw shots back. You're gonna be you're gonna get caught and you're gonna be sleeping. That's what's gonna happen. The fight's gonna just jump. Referees is just gonna jump in and stop it. That's what's gonna happen. No way is Andy Ruiz taking that kind of Dominic Brazil kind of shot from Deontay Wilder on Brazil on Ortiz's chin. This guy is sleeping, man. No chance. But Andy Ruiz, I hope he doesn't go down this route of put more weight. I hope he does look to cut the weight to become a little bit, at least more, not a stationary target. I'm sure his corner, his team will know this, and he will look to cut his weight, at least become more mobile in the ring. Obviously, Andy Ruiz, I believe a lot of people are just saying that Wilder will just go in there and knock him out. Andy Ruiz, I believe, can cause Deontay Wilder a lot of problems. If you look at how Deontay Wilder even throws his right hand, he does lean a lot into it. He throws that. He doesn't just throw the right hand. He leans his whole body weight into it. And if Andy Ruiz, we have seen, he's a very good counter puncher. Time Deontay Wilder counter him coming in on the inside. He can cause Deontay Wilder a lot of problems there. Also, Deontay, if been able to get on the inside of Deontay Wilder as well, opening up the hand speed will be a problem for Deontay Wilder as well. So I feel like Andy Ruiz will present a lot of problems to Deontay Wilder. He just should not continue. I didn't like what he was talking about, saying the body weight, extra body weight helped me absorb Andy Ruiz's shot. That body weight is not going to help you absorb power from Deontay Wilder. It's going to have to become a bit more fleet-footed. Otherwise, it's going to be getting knocked out. That's what's going to happen. But I feel like it will be a very good clash of styles. I feel like it will be, if Deontay Wilder does beat Andy Ruiz, it will be a very good good name on his resume. Same thing for Andy Ruiz. If to knock out Deontay Wilder, definitely be a good thing a good name on his resume as well. And I just feel like like I said on my previous video, with the athleticism that Deontay Wilder has, Andy Ruiz can't afford to come in there and be a sitting duck for Deontay Wilder, lining him up, telegraphing him, open season, straight right hand down the pipe, down goes Andy Ruiz. That can't happen for Andy Ruiz. He can't afford to go down, can't afford to get dropped, because if he drops him, I know, Andy Ruiz Wilder will look to finish him, and I definitely like to see, how Andy Ruiz does deal with that punching power. So drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me see what you guys think about this fight. Andy Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder. Who wins this fight? Can Andy Ruiz beat Deontay Wilder? Is he going to be looking to put on more weight, thinking he's going to reinforce the chin, and the chin get tested and he gets exposed? Or will Andy Ruiz follow suit, lose the weight, become more mobile, and potentially cause Deontay Wilder problems? And can Deontay Wilder beat Andy Ruiz? And what happens if Ruiz wins? What happens if Deontay Wilder wins? Obviously, whoever wins this fight, obviously looking to become mandatory. And I don't know how it's going to be. Maybe the belts might have been splintered off by then. They all split up, and then Fury might retire, and then AJ. It's going to be very interesting to see what the makeup of the heavyweight division will look at the time. But drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me see what you guys think. Cool.